As we enter this season of Thanksgiving, I wish to focus my reflections on the foundation of our work together, the care we have for one another. As the oldest Catholic and Jesuit college in the United States, we have a gift of incalculable worth. We have the strength of our tradition, our Jesuit tradition, to draw upon. This may be the greatest tradition of learning the world has ever seen. We are the beneficiaries of this 4th-century tradition, 231 years here on this hilltop. When all of us return to campus, the banners that capture the Spirit of Georgetown will be flying. These banners capture the 10 elements of the Spirit. Under the leadership of our Vice President for Mission and Ministry, Mark Bosco, many of you have contributed to a careful articulation of these elements. I invite you to read about each element on our website. One of these elements is especially relevant in this present reality of this pandemic, what in the Jesuit tradition is captured in the Latin words Cura Personalis. This Latin phrase translates as care of the person, and originally was used to describe the responsibility of the Jesuit superior to care for each man in the community with his unique gifts, challenges, needs, and possibilities. Today, this value applies broadly to our shared university life, to include the relationship between educators and students and professional relationships among all those who work in the university. Cura Personalis is a profound care and responsibility for one another, grounded in individualized attention to the needs of the other, attentive to their unique circumstances and concerns and their particular gifts and limitations, to encourage each person's flourishing. Profound care and responsibility for one another. Care for the person and the vision of St. Ignatius. Every one of us needs cura, the help of others, of our companions, of those around us, those who share our journeys with us. And every one of us has a responsibility for cura, for care of those around us. Former Superior General of the Jesuits, Father Peter Hans Kolvenbach, has shared that for Ignatius, it goes without saying that each person needs cura personalis, that no one can manage on her or his own. And each one of us has a responsibility to exercise cura personalis in the ways that we can, understood as our responsibility to help the person. Father Kolvenbach again, and I quote, "In essence, cura personalis is simply help from person to person." Close quote. How does cura personalis come alive in the university? Universities provide a place for protecting and nurturing resources of incomparable value for deepening self-understanding, self-awareness, self-knowledge, resources that support the interior work of making meaning in one's life. We seek to provide a context for our students to become their most authentic selves. An authentic self is one living in accord with one's most deeply held values, one capable of resisting the forces of darkness that are always pulling us away from the goods that enable us to realize our full promise. Our decisions and actions are informed by these values, these goods. We seek alignment between these goods in our decisions and actions. As the philosopher Charles Taylor writes, quote, "There is a certain way of being human that is my way," close quote. All of us struggle to align our decisions and actions with the deepest goods that animate our lives. Too often, however, we lack an interior freedom that enables us to break through blocks to authenticity. It is possible for our colleges and universities to contribute to this interior work in which our students are engaged, the work through which an authentic self can emerge. In recent years, our community has provided a context for a deep engagement with questions of the health and well-being of our young people. We know that these past years have been very challenging for our young people. We know that COVID has only added additional challenges. We've taken a number of steps to strengthen our framework for support. Our Center for Counseling and Psychiatric Services, CAPS, has transitioned in this virtual environment to a telehealth model, and our CAPS staff has grown. Students can participate in Healthiest You through our student health insurance, receiving free counseling and medical visits. We also engage a network of community mental health providers who work with traditionally marginalized or underserved communities and students dealing with trauma. Health Education Services supports students on issues of interpersonal violence, nutrition and eating disorders, or alcohol and substance abuse-related concerns. We also have a special office, Student Outreach and Support, that works with students experiencing a crisis or difficult personal circumstances or unexpected transitions that interrupt a student's course of study. All of these resources can be found on a centralized page on our website and are shared with our community throughout the year. For our entire community, students, faculty, and staff, we're also working on expanding our partnership with One Medical, with whom we work to implement our daily attestation and testing protocol to expand our telehealth resources to address mental health and well-being. In the coming weeks, members of our community will be able to access at no cost virtual wellness workshops, coaching, and therapy. The care and responsibility we have for one another, that idea of Cura Personalis, that profound care and responsibility for another person, has never been more important. We have all experienced, because of the pandemic, disruptions to our daily lives, to the customs and practices that help us to come together as a community. For the past 2 decades, my wife Teresa, my son JT, and I have hosted a dinner here on campus for the students in our community who are here for the Thanksgiving holiday. The dinner has grown to over 1,400 students, many international students, often celebrating Thanksgiving for the first time. We won't be able to gather in the same way as a community this year. We're being asked to think differently about our plans to gather for the holidays. I know this is difficult. We all look forward to that day when we can return to these special moments of gathering in the life of our community. All of this is sustained by a community shaped by a set of values, including one that has disproportionate significance in this moment when each of us needs cura. We need the care of those around us, and we need to provide cura, provide care for all of those around us. As we approach Thanksgiving, I wish to offer all of you my most sincere gratitude and appreciation. Take care of yourselves, and I wish you all a safe and blessed Thanksgiving holiday.